The brie and blackberry pancakes, phenomenal, served with chicken tenders. Obviously, chicken and waffles, very popular dish. You guys kind of turned that on its head. Who came up with that idea, and why stuffed with brie? Why blackberries? Like, how did that dish come to be? Hey there, Omaha. Welcome into another episode of Hurrdat Hoppen. I'm your host, Dan Hoppen, and these guys sitting next to me are like the epitome of why I love local restaurants. Just a few years ago, they were line cooks at another restaurant, and they had a passion, and they wanted to build it out. And they started doing pop-ups, and then they moved into a food hall, and then they moved into a restaurant, and then they were featured on Food Network. I mean, the level that you guys have risen in such a short amount of time is incredible, but it is 100% earned, as we are going to get into the dedication that you put into scratch making everything. It is earned. Moseley, Dan Whalen, these are the chefs and owners of Dirty Birds. Can we give it up for these guys? Okay, so I think most people, if they knew what Dirty Birds was and you asked them what kind of restaurant it was, they'd say it's a fried chicken joint. And they definitely wouldn't be wrong. I mean, that's how you guys definitely got your start in fried chicken. But you look at the menu now, I mean, it's brunch, it's burgers, it's all kinds of different, I mean, you guys have salads, all kinds of different things on the menu. It's not just fried chicken anymore. How has Dirty Birds evolved, and like, how would you, maybe you still would describe it as a fried chicken joint, but how would you describe it to somebody telling them about it for the first time?
It's funny you say that too, because every time we're asked to describe it, it gets harder and harder to describe what we are. Like, yeah, we are a fried chicken place. That's where our heart lies. We like to tell people it lies within fried chicken. Well, we love it. It's we had a saying, we're just frying chickens with our best friends. That's what we tell everybody. But again, it's become so much more harder to do it. Really, we just do whatever we feel like that week. So we definitely get these itches. Like the last couple of weeks, it's been sausages. We really, tried to figure out sausages and do really cool ones. It's been a lot of fun. Bread, that's something that's really close to our hearts. So we make all of our bread. Really, everything in our house is from scratch. So it's a lot of fun. It's hard to describe.
I forgot pasta. You guys have been on a huge pasta kick too.
Yeah.
Pasta and lasagna.
Yeah. Nonstop. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep doing pasta. Challenge yourselves there in the kitchen with that.
We're unusual owners too. Like you're always going to see us in the kitchen. Like there's never a time you'll show up at Dirty Birds and we're not back there cooking your food. So sometimes we get bored and we like to challenge ourselves or one up ourselves. We're like, hey man, you want to try this? And you want to try this? And we're like, yeah, let's do it. Let's make it harder on ourselves. Why not? So.
Now, you said that's unusual as owners, that you'll always be back in the kitchen. What makes you take that approach that we're going to be back there every single time?
It's just, we're control freaks, I think, a little bit. You don't want to let it go. It's where we came up. It's a lot of fun, too, for us. Like, we wouldn't do what we do if it wasn't a lot of fun. So, cooking, it's what I do. It's what we're good at, really,
Right. Yeah, having a blue-collar mentality and just coming in every day and doing what we love, cook, and like make food for the masses,
What I think where it comes down to me, I think, is you guys, so much like where you came from, kitchen table. Yeah, fried chicken is your signature, but I think the through line in your menu now, while it's got a bunch of different stuff, is just how much you guys are making yourselves. And you kind of touched on this a little bit.
Absolutely.
Just roughly, I'm not asking you to give me an exact number, but like what % of things that come out of your kitchen and go onto somebody's plate are made in-house?
98.5.
That's incredible.
Yeah. It's funny. So there's one thing we always tell people, like there's one thing, a big one that we don't make in-house, and that's our fries. And we like to tell people it's because the fries we buy is the fries that got some people like us through high school. They were like the best thing in high school to us. So it's like we found the ones we wanted. And, we are living in our space still, too. If you've ever been in the Flatiron, it's big. It's got a big front of house, but that kitchen is tiny. So we have to, pick and choose our battles. But if you order our pasta, everything's made from scratch. If you order our chicken sandwich, everything's made from scratch. If you order, 99% of everything, and including our bar, too. one thing that we didn't have, like doing the pop-ups or doing the food hall, was a bar. And we really took that like as a challenge as well. Like, we got this bar now. Let's make all of our own stuff. Let's infuse our own alcohols. Let's really do it. Luckily, we have like the best bartender ever sitting right over there, Midwest Mike. Mm-hmm. And, you know, our bar is just taken off to another level. And in fact, it's inspired other things, like the event we're doing in May. Probably talk about it later, our cockfight event that actually just sold out in 2 days.
Which is incredible. When I saw that on social media today, I was like, wait a second, didn't they just announce that?
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're here. Let's just get into it. Tell me about, because the first cockfight happened last year. Mm-hmm. We got another one coming up in May. Tell me about it. Yeah, so it's a 1v1 best bartenders in the city. So I always like to tell people, if they want to see what we're trying to pull off, there used to be this old culinary show called Knife Fight. I don't know if you're familiar. I love it. It's a competition cooking show, but it's a lot dirtier. It's a lot more like, hey, loser takes a shot out of the other one's shoe kind of thing. So that's kind of what we wanted to approach it as. And so it's 1v1. The very first one we did was Fizzy's versus La Colonna. La Colonna, I can never say that right. But two great bartenders. If you're familiar with their bars, they're some of the best in the city. And it was an event. We do a 3-course dinner. It's 3 cocktails from each bartender, a light, a dark, and a toast. That's their parameters. They have a few special rules, but the entire event, too, is filmed. So we have a host, Midwest Mike over here. We film the entire thing, and we're trying to pilot into an episode. In fact, we just got our first rough cut of the first one. That'll be coming out soon. It is awesome. It looks so cool. I can't believe, you know, what we were able to accomplish out of there. So with that, like, success that we garnered for the first one, we, of course, put together the second one. And this one is Matt Owens versus Mikey from Night Owl. And it's like, these are 2 cocktail heavyweights in the city. I don't know if anybody's familiar. And Matt Owens is from?
Green Room, Omaha.
Green Room.
Yeah, these guys are like heavyweights. These guys are so good in their craft. And, I mean, obviously, it's sold out. In fact, we upped the tickets this time. We said, you know what? It's selling so fast. Let's sell a couple more. You know, make sure the bartenders are okay with it. They were like, yeah, go ahead. 20 minutes later, it was sold out. So,
goodness gracious.
And it ain't cheap. It's $100. Like, it ain't cheap. It's we charge that because we're putting on a show worth $100. It is really cool. And we have 3 judges too. The judges table, a lot of the filming is based around the judges' reactions and throughout the night. And this guy right over here is going to be a judge for the second one.
I mean, one of those judges doesn't have much of a palate, but
yeah, it's going to be good, man.
Well, that was the thing. Like, when you asked me to be a judge, I was like, heck yeah, and I'm going to promote the heck out of this. I'm going to help them sell tickets. Let's sell this thing out. I didn't have to do a thing, and you just did it yourself.
It's great. So, and with that too, we're going to be doing more. So, you know, the first one we definitely got our feet wet. The second one is going to be, it's awesome. Like, we took it even further. The 3-course dinner is going to be served on handmade plates. So now everything at Dirty Birds, from the plate to the food, is scratch. So that's going to be pretty cool.
You're making your own plates?
We got a guy. You
got a plate guy?
We got a plate guy. Yeah. He's pretty cool. So he's hand throwing 60 plates for us for the event, and we'll be incorporating those into our restaurant as well. So we make our own shirts too. We have a T-shirt press in our basement. So if you buy a T-shirt from us, we made it, and there's a chance you thrifted it. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
Very cool. Let's get back to chicken, because we talked about you guys are more than chicken, but that was the genesis of Dirty Birds. That's how you guys got together. That's how this concept started. Moses, I found a quote from you a while ago, and you said, "We can always get to a base level with somebody, because no matter whose story it is, that story can intersect with fried chicken." What is it about fried chicken specifically that gives it kind of that everyman welcoming quality?
It's very, like, you know, Americana. It's something we all have in common, no matter what, you know, lifestyle you come from or what you do or anything. There can be this agreement or disagreement on the best fried chicken, you know, and that's great. And that's a good argument to have, I feel like, especially in these kinds of times. So that, you know, that baseline is just that. It's something you can share in common with any person from any walk of life. You know, it's super Americana to me. So.
Yeah, just growing up and going out to KFC with family or hitting up the buffet, you know, those are always special times.
But what's interesting is I think that there's a challenge that comes with that too, because everyone has that connection to fried chicken. Mm-hmm. Everybody had their mom's fried chicken or their grandpa's fried chicken or that hole in the wall down the street that we would go to on Sunday after church. Like, people have that special connection to that food. So when they come and eat fried chicken, they're expecting that expectation to be met. Like, that puts a little pressure on you guys too, right?
Absolutely. I've told people a million times, when you throw your hat into that arena, anything like barbecue, pizza, or chicken, man, there's going to be a lot of people talking shit, and there's going to be a lot of people showing love. It's the way it is. I worked in barbecue for a real long time. When I was in Atlanta, I won awards for it. But someone once told me the best barbecue you'll ever have is the barbecue you had in the best of times. It could have been some crap, but you had it at the best time, so that nothing will ever beat it. And, you're going to come across folks like that. But I think with our enthusiasm, the way it shows and the way we present it, like, we're at least going to crack something. We're going to get through the surface a little bit, And, again, we can have that conversation. So that baseline is just truly great.
All right, Dan, I'm not going to ask you for the fried chicken secrets to what makes your fried chicken great, but give me one step in the process or one ingredient, something that you feel like separates Dirty Bird's chicken from any other fried chicken.
Sure, yeah. It starts a couple days ahead, actually, because we brine our chicken in our sweet tea brine. And that just gives it this unique flavor that you don't forget. It sticks with you. And, we make our own fry flour as well and dip it in buttermilk too. So it balances itself. It's just perfect bite, if you ask me.
And we learn every day, man. You definitely, like, in the restaurant world nowadays, you have to kind of like go along with the times. Something is cheaper, you might have to move to a different product. You might have to. There's a lot of things, and there's techniques learned along the way. I mean, one crucial step, I think, in our process now is the fact that after we're done breaking down all the chicken, we actually pound it lightly just to get more even pieces, and you're kind of like breaking it up a little bit. You're letting that flavor come in. But just that key little step right there, if you miss it, it's huge. It takes too long in the fryer at that point. You might, the brine doesn't penetrate it, or just it isn't what you want, So that step of just pounding each piece just to get it right is it's pretty crucial.
That is something that always impresses me about you guys, because I've had you on the podcast probably, this might be the fourth or fifth time now. It's been a couple years, but you've been usually about once a year. You guys just keep doing new stuff, so I keep having to have you on.
Yeah.
But I specifically remember between two of the podcasts, on the first one, you told me that you were brining your chicken in pickle juice. So it got it had good acidity, good salt already. So when you took the chicken out of the fryer, you didn't salt it. And I brought that up on the next podcast, and you're like, oh no, we definitely salt now. And now you're talking about, brining in the sweet tea versus pickle juice. Like, I love that you're not just sitting on your laurels and being like, this fried chicken was awesome. It got us into the Switch food hall. Then it got us into the Flatiron. But you're being like, no. There. Can we pound it out? Will that make it a little bit better? How can we continue to improve this? What gives you that attitude to not just say, we make some badass fried chicken, let's just stick with this? What makes you keep experimenting, keep reaching?
I think being uncomfortable kind of tributes to that. Never settling, just being like, what else can we do? What more can be done to this product? Like, it's very simple, obviously, but executing it and not missing any steps, like that's what separates it.
Yeah, we've grown such a following too. Like, our people have been so good to us. Like, they're willing to stick it out. Like, they'll be like, they're changing it. Okay, fine, I'll try it. That means the world to us. But just like the bread part of it, we started out not making bread. We were in a little food hall. We just didn't have we actually did make bread the first day, and we were like, well, we can't keep up with that, so let's go ahead and buy some Rotellas. We bought, then we started making our own bread again, but we were actually making loaves of shoku pan, because we were like, how cool would it be to have our chicken on, some sliced white bread? Like, that sounds pretty cool. We did it for a long time. It was great. But then we just started, we didn't like some of the crust, or things change so much too when you make bread. Like, the weather changes everything. It's like, and with us, if you get one bad batch, it's like, oh crap, you just set yourself up for a really hard week, because you're going to be playing catch up all week. And then, we were just like, let's just try buns. We were always kind of scared of it at first, but we were like, let's just do it. I bet we could do it. And now we pump out 300-400 buns a week. So yeah, I mean, we just can't be scared of change. Never hurt us any. No.
When does this experimentation happen? When are you coming up with new dishes? Because you guys are open all the time.
That's an easy one to answer. That's usually at the bar. That's
Starts
Fair enough.
That's an easy one. Yeah.
So post work.
Yeah, post work.
Okay.
Yeah, we always. I mean, we're a tight knit family. A lot of places are, but at one point, all of Dirty Birds lived under the same roof. We all had the same place. We were just trying to get this thing started. But like Mike here, a couple of our guys, my wife, like after a good, it's usually Saturday, and we know we have to work brunch the next day, but we still Saturday we'll spend our Saturday evening at Page Turners after a long shift, and that's again we'll start just industry talk. We'll start talking about our food, which is crazy. You're like, you just worked 15 hours, like why are you guys still talking about chicken? But no, it's like what we want to talk about. So we'll come up with a strategy, and we'll try to execute it throughout the week. And it usually makes its way. It's fun too at our place because it'll usually make its way onto one of our hand drawn signs, and then it might make its way into the menu for a day or two, and then it'll find its way in there permanently. So.
Well, we're going to talk about one of those items that found its way onto the menu permanently. Yeah. Chicken and pancakes. You knew I was going to ask about this. I'm coming off basically 2 months of eating pancakes probably twice a week. I ate a lot of pancakes. You guys came out number 2 on my list. Easily could have been number 1. The chicken and brie. The brie and blackberry pancakes. Yeah. Phenomenal, served with chicken tenders. Obviously, chicken and waffles, very popular dish. You guys kind of turned that on its head. Who came up with that idea, and why stuffed with brie? Why blackberries? Like, how did that dish come to be?
Yeah, that was actually me. And I would love to say I invented that, but actually I worked for this place in Sacramento when I was bouncing around from tour gigs, and it was called Finnegan's Public House, and it was this really old guy, and that was his little cafe restaurant, and I was this dude working for him, and blackberry brie pancakes is what he used to serve, and I was like, I love this. Can I do it? He's like, dude, go for it, But the sassafras syrup was a spin we wanted. We love really like sarsaparilla flavors and stuff like that. So we were like, let's try to make a syrup and find some stuff. It's funny. We tried to figure out, and we did figure out, but it turns out it's highly illegal to buy the sassafras leaf to make your own sassafras because it makes drugs. So you can't do that. Yeah, you can't do that. So we found concentrate. You can buy sassafras minus the saffrolate oil or something it's called, but it's a whole thing. Because we were trying to make our own sarsaparilla too at one point. And it was just like, no, you're going to get put on a list. So
the FDA didn't love that one.
Yeah.
So for people who aren't familiar, sarsaparilla, sassafras has like a root beer kind of taste to it. So imagine like root beer syrup with like just these really thick, fluffy pancakes that are just studded with cheese and tart brie or tart blackberries. Very, very good. Would highly recommend. And you still get fried chicken with it.
Yes.
You can get chicken with it as well. We can get back to the restaurant, but I mean, we got to get into the origin story now because it is wild. And I want to go back to the very beginning because if someone looked at your two backgrounds and said, these two individuals are going to come together and start a fried chicken joint, I mean, no way. No one could have predicted that. So, Dan, you were a biology major who was working at Nebraska Furniture Mart. Moses was a cook who was working for touring bands.
Yep.
You both ended up at Kitchen Table. That's how you met. How did, Dan, we'll start with you. How did each of you guys get to Kitchen Table?
Yeah, I actually found it on Craigslist of all places, and I usually catch a lot of grief for that. But yeah, it was just a position as nighttime dishwasher prep guy, and I hadn't been working in a kitchen for a while, so I found like it was calling me, So I went down there, applied, and worked there for the next 6 years, kind of on and off, 6-7 years, and yeah. I don't know. I love those guys. Colin and Jess were like mom and dad family to me for a long time. But yeah, that's kind of how I got my kick there. But yeah, started as a dishwasher, but by the end of it, I was like line cook, and I didn't know what I was capable of, and they saw a lot in me. So I'm forever grateful,
Mm-hmm. How'd you end up there, Moses?
It was a girl, actually. I was dating a girl.
As most good stories start.
So, and then, I was just kind of kicking around town. I worked for Trans-Siberian Orchestra for a really long time, and we used to do rehearsals here every year for an entire month, and they still do actually. And then one year I was just like, I'm gonna stay because I was living in Sacramento and it was really expensive. So I was like, I'm gonna stay here, and I decided to stay. And Kitchen Table let me come on board and work, and I worked there pretty much full time. Minus they would let me go on tour, so I'd get to go on tour for a couple months, come on back. So that helped out quite a bit.
So for anyone who doesn't know or hasn't been there, Kitchen Table is it's a restaurant downtown, kind of a breakfast lunch spot, just super cozy. I mean, same thing that we've been talking about. If it's on their table, ketchup, hot sauce, butter, anything, they are making it. Colin and Jess Duggan are their names. They're incredible people. You guys ended up becoming roommates. You ended up opening a concept together. You can be friends with coworkers, but what drew you guys? What gave you such a strong bond? Like, did you immediately click? Did that have to gel over time? How did that work?
I'd say pretty immediate. Yeah,
I'd say so.
We had the same interests, going to the bar after work, so that helps quite a bit. So
yeah, plenty of talk about the day, talk about whatever, sports, whatever. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I can still remember to this day at Page Turner's the night we were like, we're either doing this, man, or we're just talking about it, kind of thing. And we were like, all right, let's do it. Let's put a 6-month plan, 1 year plan together, and then it feels like overnight it all kind of just boom took off. So,
well, I want to go back a little further because I went back and listened to the previous episodes that we did, and Moses, you said something that I thought was just fascinating. You said, I always had the experience of being backstage and being able to procure amazing products and present them in an elegant fashion for big-time artists. But Colin and Jess at Kitchen Table taught me to make that stuff. Breads, cured meats, anything that I would say, I have to go to the grocery store and buy this great product. Instead, it was, let's make it. That's what hooked me and kept me here. What was that approach that draws you guys in? Because I think a lot of people would probably be like, no, I don't want to make my own ketchup. Like, this is hard when I could just go buy, a big thing of Heinz and we can be done with it. You guys went the other way and you're like, this is super cool. These guys are making their own bread.
Oh, yeah.
They're doing everything. What drew you to that approach?
It's so cool, man. It's, those are things like you'll go your whole life and you don't even know that like somebody made ketchup before you started buying it. Like people used to make this. And breads, and it's super, and I think that's what keeps us going at Dirty Burst too, and doing what we do. It's so interesting, man. And watching bread, like, especially as much as we made of bread, of pastas, of chicken, and seeing it go through this like this transformation, learning how the cold weather affects it, how our hydration changes and stuff. So it's super nerdy. It's awesome. Like it's really cool.
Yeah, I nerd out about food all the time.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, looking at someone else's menu or learning about a new product that I'd never heard about before. It's always drawn my interest, I guess.
Do you have an example of that recently? Like something you saw on social media or you were talking about it at the bar and you're just like, oh, that's so cool. I want to try this.
Lasagna.
Yeah, maybe the lasagna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We saw somebody on Instagram do a lasagna, like the way we do it, we're like, whoa.
15 layers that lasagna is, guys. They're not cheating you on portion size.
We do it in what's called a Grand Pullman pan, and we were using those pans to bake all of our shoku pan when we were doing the square bread. But then we started doing buns, so we had all these pans hanging around, so we were like, dude, what if we built a lasagna in there? Like, let's just try it. And then we'll slice it and we'll sear it. And, there's so many things that can go wrong, like when you're trying to do that, it's like different steps, but we turned it out and it came out perfect, and now it's like been a staple at our place. For people get mad when we don't have it on there.
Well, it's on the full-time menu now, right?
Yeah, we have it pretty full-time. Yep.
Nice. That's definitely a great example. I read somewhere that a lot of the recipes that you guys came up with, especially like, and I know that you've altered them and updated them and everything, but were originally meals that you cooked for family meal. At Kitchen Table. Just tell me about that. Like, first of all, for people who don't know, what is family meal, and what did you guys learn from cooking in that environment?
Family meal. Just little bites for anyone or an actual meal, but like, yeah, prior to your shift or like even in the middle, like if you get, like for instance, like one of our friends, Joel, brings in some brisket and it's like, oh, what are we going to do with this? We're going to, I don't know, make a pizza. Yeah. Just I'll take a moment to share some food with each other. Cause otherwise we're not really eating during our shifts. It's just nonstop.
Yeah.
Go.
I remember the first fried chicken we made together. We actually, so we had a friend that had an urban farm in downtown Omaha, and they were like, "Do you guys want to come help us kill a bunch of chickens?" We were like, "Hell yeah!" Like I had never killed. Yeah, I was like, I never killed a chicken before. I want to try this, and so it was fun. I even called my mom. I'm like, I don't know if I'm supposed to have this much fun, but this is a blast. Like, so. And you know, it's very primal. Like you're like, I just killed this chicken. Now I want to cook it. So we killed it and took it to the kitchen table, bought a couple 2 liters of Coca-Cola because they don't got Coca-Cola there. So we bought some Coca-Cola and some chicken. We just sat around eating chicken we killed a few hours prior. So that was awesome. That was cool as shit. You know, you don't get to do that very often these days. So we're avid fishermen too. So like, that's pretty much as close as we've ever gotten to that. We've loved going to catch trout and sitting by the stream and eating it right there. So like, again, something primal to it. It's amazing. We love it.
Yeah, let's go fishing right now.
Yeah.
So who came? You mentioned, you know, it was at Page Turner's at one night at the bar when you guys were like, "Hey, we need to do this. Let's put together a 1-year plan." Who originally had the idea? We love doing fried chicken. Let's open a place together.
Bro, this guy right
Yeah,
here.
it was probably a little more. I mean, I think I sat there and just berated Dan. He was a little just like, yeah, we could do this. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
But now we definitely both were at the point where it's like, we want to do more. Like, you know, being a line cook's great. It's awesome. Everybody should do it. Try it once. It's awesome. But it's like, you know, how much further can we take this? How much more can we bet on ourselves and do it? And, you know, you definitely get to an age where that's something you're thinking about. And a lot of people don't have the opportunity to act on it, but we did. So we were just like, let's go, let's do it. And, yeah, the rest is history there.
September 11th, 2020.
Yeah.
That was the day that you guys had your first pop-up. And it was inside the Dandelion pop-up in the little concession stand, essentially, downtown. Yep. Now, it's one thing to cook fried chicken for family, for friends, even for the other people at the restaurant. It's a whole nother thing to make hundreds of pounds of it and serve the public. And you guys sold out that day. Yeah. I mean, I was down there, and it was kind of nuts. It was really fun to see, and the chicken was incredible. What was it about that day that kind of affirmed, hey, I think we're doing the right thing here. Like, let's keep pushing into this.
Yeah.
Yeah, community support, like you said, like it was crazy out there. So it's like, okay, maybe the answer is this. Yeah. It's like, just got to listen. But yeah, having all those people out there for support, like really drove it home.
What do you remember most about that day? Like, is there a memory that pops to the front of your mind first?
I got a good one.
Yeah. Yeah.
With the fryer.
Yeah. Almost blew us up.
Yeah. That was pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait. The fryer almost blew you up?
Yeah. It was, well, you know, I mean, it was scary, but there was like a poof, because it's an outdoor fryer. So if you're not familiar, outdoor fryers work a little different than ones inside. They have this it's basically a propane tank with a lighter head on top of it. And it's just like spitting a hot flame. So just like anything, if it builds up and it's out for a second, it's going to go. So it had a little burn off and it just went boom. I remember like, all right, I'm not going to move. I'm not going to show fear. Like this was supposed to happen kind of thing. Like, don't worry about it, guys. Yeah.
Yep. Be chill.
Chill no, nothing's wrong here.
Bro. Chill.
It worked out. Yeah. You survived.
Yep.
Prepared you for days like today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was just a few months later. I think January 1st or 2nd was your first day opening in the Switch. But I mean, we're talking first pop-up at the beginning of September. 3 to 4 months later, you're opening inside the Switch, which was a food hall in the Blackstone district. Mm-hmm. How did that move so fastly? Did you guys so quickly? Who approached you guys about that? Were you seeking out a permanent location? Kind of walk me through how that came together.
Yeah, I mean, a little of both. There was a couple times we were looking at spots and, without much luck or anything like that. But it was also the height of the pandemic. So, it was at the point where people were starting to open back up and people were starting to go back out, but there was just nothing around. There was, not a lot. So the Switch at the time, they were, I don't want to say like desperate or anything, but they needed somebody to come in to like fill up a spot. And they saw, that we were kind of bringing the crowds out to our pop-ups and they were like, hey, come on over, come do this. And we were like, yeah, okay, we can try this out. And it was insane how busy we were for the first couple months, like out of one fryer too.
What? You guys had one fryer?
One small fryer. Yeah, it was insane.
Yeah, that's what leads to 2-hour wait times and things like that.
But people still came.
Oh, they waited too. They were hooting and hollering. They loved it. They were like, we're going to wait right here. Don't worry. So it was a lot of fun.
Well, I mean, I can only imagine what that feeling is like for you guys because you're totally new. You don't have a ton of name recognition yet, and yet you look out. I'm sure you're just busy, and part of it is just like, holy crap, there's so many people. Like, this is super intimidating. But it's also just got to be like almost surreal to see these massive lines and be like, what is going on?
Who'd you tell?
How did that happen? I don't know. Somebody.
That was cool, man. It's, and we were those guys. We put it kind of like in our mission and our website too. Like it talk about, the name Dirty Birds. It's kind of just, it fits us really well. We were the guys that knew all the bartenders by name in the city. We knew all the line cooks in the city. We knew most of the managers and owners of restaurants here in the city. So, we always enjoyed their places maybe a little too much sometimes. But with that, it garners a lot of support, man. People, kind of know you as the out around the town kind of guys. So when you do something, especially in Omaha, man, they show out. People here really love their local brands and the people who come from it. So it's like, it's awesome, man.
Obviously, you guys are great at making fried chicken, but when you're opening at that point, not a restaurant yet, but even still a stall in a food hall, it's about a lot more than food. Yeah. Like you got to level up in a lot of areas. You got to figure out, what supplies do we need to buy? How do we hire employees? How do we train employees? There's, how do we order food every single day? How did you guys level up in the areas other than cooking at that time?
Lots of trips to Restaurant Depot initially that got us through.
The people who work in restaurants are the ones who are laughing so loudly. That's a knowing laugh, I think.
Yeah, but we definitely leaned on the people that we used to visit and go to their bars and restaurants around town and ask them questions, and we're eager to learn. Never stopped learning.
Yeah, dude. We had some help too along the way. Phil from Page Turner's Lounge. He owns Blue Sky, a couple other places. That dude has always been awesome. He had a meeting with us. He sat down and showed us how to budget. Like, he took time out of his day. Noah from Fizzy's and Night Owl, again, somebody like you could always lean on. He taught us different pay structures of how to do in the restaurants and so forth. Megan from Tiny House, she was always one of the homies putting our name out there for everybody. Like, go check out these boys. Like, we had a lot of help, man, from some really, big hitters here in Omaha. So,
how do you guys pay that forward now? Because now you're the big hitters. Are you doing that for other people?
We try, dude. We've been holding pop-ups lately too, like in our restaurant with great success too, which has been awesome. Like, people that have been doing pop-ups, they've seen fruit, from it, which is hard, man, in a pop-up, because you're buying for one day, you're trying to get everything for one day, and sometimes it's just like you may not make anything because it's one day, so you might way overbuy. You might spend too much on this. You can't spread it out through a week. So, but we've been doing that with folks, and we've been letting them use our POS system. That's a big thing. Learning how to use a POS system. We were kitchen guys. The only thing we knew was the ticket that came out the other end. There's a lot of programming involved into it, a lot of banking and so forth. So, learning how to use POS systems. Anybody that's done a pop-up in our place too, you get a sense of a restaurant. So it's not just like, come to a counter, here's your stuff on paper. It's like, no, you have to use our plates, which means you need a dishwasher, which means you need, food runners and stuff. And we provide all that to them and just give them a chance to see, hey man, you might like this quite a bit. So,
So it was in the switch when you guys, it's still the main portions of the menu was fried chicken sandwiches. I think you had grilled chicken for a period of time as well. But it was there that you started playing around with specials. And I remember you guys did a lot of desserts too, which was super unique and interesting. Do you remember those first conversations about, like, I know you guys have talked about how you're just constant innovators and you want to try new things, but like, what were some of those first conversations like where it was like, what if we did something that's not fried chicken?
Right.
What would you think about that? Do you remember those conversations?
Yeah, I feel like we did a mushroom special or something once where it was like all vegetarian. It was like, how's this going to go?
Yeah.
It's like, just float it out there, see how it goes. Just try new things.
Yeah, and a lot of local purveyors help with that too. Like when you start a restaurant here, what you'll get a lot is local farms knocking on your door. So like there's a ton of them, but they would come to us and be like, hey man, I'm a guy that sells mushrooms. I'm a guy that sells microgreens. I'm a guy that does this. And it's like, cool, I'll take some of those. Let me mess around with that, see what I can do. So that's a lot of fun too. Great farming community here in Omaha, and they'll come to you. Like they'll show up at your door once you open something. So
speaking of opening something, you were in the switch for, excuse me, about 2.5 years. And then in 2022, got to move into the Flatiron building, which is a historic building in downtown Omaha. I think the last time I had you guys on the podcast, you just moved in like a couple months ago, and you were so excited about it.
Yeah.
What is it about that space that inspires you so much?
It's home for me, but I live upstairs. But yeah, just the openness of everything. You can't hide anything. The bright lights show all. Plants. I love all the plants we have. The tiles. It's just so unique. It's a big city in Omaha downtown.
it's cool, man. It's a great location. The basement's huge too. For like I said earlier, we print our own shirts down there. That was a lot of fun. So, but a cool building, man. It's funny when we were finally looking for a new spot, they we went through a realtor who's great, and they give you a list, and they give you this list of like all the places available. And we checked out some other places, and they put the rent on there, and then there it was, like on the fourth page, it was the Flatiron, and it didn't have a price next to it. We were like, there's no way, but let's just call them and see. And we called them, and they were like, yeah, come check it out, come hang out. They gave us the price. We were like, holy crap, this is really reasonable. And the thing about the Flatiron, though, is it's a historic building. So it wasn't just like, oh, we're going to sign this piece of paper, all is good, you're good to go. It's like, no, we had to have a roundtable meeting with like the owners and the investors of the Flatiron and talk about all this stuff. And it was basically me and him, two fried chicken guys, talking to the guys in the Flatiron, like, we're good, I swear it won't be too crazy in here. And they were like, no, go for it. And now they love us, man. They're proud of us. So it's really cool to have them on our side. So, but it's cool, man. It's really cool. We thought no way we were going to get in the Flatiron, but there it was. And it made the most sense out of all the places we looked at too. So
I would say now 2.5 years in, I would say it's proven to be a good move. We talked a little bit about the differences between just doing pop-ups and then moving into the space in the switch. This is a whole nother level. This is graduating up to, hey, we have this restaurant. We have a full space to fill. We have our own kitchen. It's not shared anymore. Mm-hmm. We have a basement. We can do so much more stuff. What did you have to learn, or what were some of the most important lessons that you learned graduating from shared space to this is our own restaurant?
There's a lot, man. You got to become a general contractor. You got to become a construction worker. You got to become, your own lawyer in a sense. You got to know a lot of the business side of it. Some of it you're learning on the job. Some of it has to be shown to you. But I mean, for the first couple months, it was just taking truckloads and truckloads of subflooring out to a dumpster. That was crazy. None of us have ever done any kind of construction. But there we were. Dan general contracted the whole thing. So that was pretty cool.
That was something I don't know if I could do again, but it was kind of a blur, really. But yeah, we built it out in like 7 months. Probably took a little longer than we wanted it to, but we haven't looked back since when opening the doors down there. So,
Yeah.
How did you design the space to make it yours? Because you could do a little bit inside the Switch. You guys had the brown paper signs and everything. Like, you were able to
The chicken coop.
the rubber chickens hanging from the ceiling. Like, you guys were able to personalize that space a little bit. But when you've got your own restaurant, it's like, this is our personality, and how we design this place is going to influence. It's going to pretty heavily influence whether people come here or not, or whether they want to stay or not. What did you guys do to make that space your own?
Well, we actually hired a great architects. Is that what they are? Yeah. The old Anderson, they were just great, and they listened to us. You know, they took a lot of our comments and they turned it into like something we couldn't even really imagine, as far as like the paint scheme and the design of the tables. His dad built all the benches in the basement.
You're kidding.
Nah, every one of them.
Jeez.
all of them, yeah.
Yeah, we had to carry the wood down. That sucked, but he built every bench in that place. His dad built. So
Yeah, it's very special.
yeah,
Yeah, not a lot of people know that one.
yeah. Cassie, one of our chefs, all the plants in our restaurant, she's the one who's done it all.
Oh, really?
So all the hanging plants, all the plants. We have a ton of plants. That was actually one of the things we told the architects. We were like, we want room for plants in here, like too many plants. We want it to look like Miami in here, you know, like go nuts. And it is little by little, you know, it takes a while. Like at first we had nothing on the walls, and now it's totally different. It looks great in there.
What do you, as you look back at first couple months in the restaurant to how you guys are operating now, what were some of the maybe biggest learnings that you've had? Some of the things where you look and say, okay, these have been the biggest changes for the better now.
Working till 2 a.m.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, we were our original hours were Friday, Saturday till 2 a.m. And it was me and Dan. We'd work from 9 a.m. till 2 a.m. 2 days in a row, you know, plus all the other days. And it was just like, I almost don't even remember that time in my life. I was such a zombie.
Right.
And we backed it down. We were like, let's do 10 p.m. And it's like, it's crazy because we've seen more of a draw doing those hours than the 2 a.m. It's like people get out there faster or something. I don't know what it is, but that was rough. That was like, but sometimes you just got to do what you got to do just to get, you know, there's a lot of expenses that come and open a place like that. And sometimes you just got to do what you got to do to get them paid. So, but man, that was hard. That was hard.
Yeah, I remember because we then followed up with a brunch on a Sunday, and by the end of that, it's like dead to the world. Like, don't talk to me.
Yeah, and you lose a little bit of creativity, man. It's like, what are you sacrificing to make it happen? And so, you know, especially our new hours we run now, like it's great. Yeah, we actually have time. We have time to go sit at the bar till 2 a.m.
You have time. You have time to come on a Dopey podcast on a Monday
I love
night.
this.
Let's get into the diners, drive-ins, and dives of it all. May 2023, Food Network star Guy Fieri, he opened a new casino restaurant in Council Bluffs and took that opportunity to visit 6 Omaha restaurants that were featured on Food Network on Diners, Drive-ins, and Dives. You guys were one of those 6. Were you fans of the show before you were?
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you guys knew what you were getting into. What was that like? Did you get a call? Did someone reach out to you? Like, how did that work?
Yeah, they called us. They called us, and the way I understood it is their production team, they kind of scout and they talk to different people and like food people in the city, and then they get a list, kind of like some restaurants that they have an idea of, and then their production team reaches out to a ton of them. And they create a binder, and then that binder is given to Guy. And Guy looks through all the stuff, and he's like, okay, that one, you know, that one. And he picked us. So we were like, oh, crazy. All right.
Did they tell you why? Like, what stood out about you, or nope?
Not really. I mean, we had a long phone interview, and, you know, they definitely were, like, doing a lot of personality checking to make sure, you know, like, see how you guys react. And we handled it pretty damn well, I think. It was a great call. We had her laughing, so that's always good. And so, yeah, the next call was like, okay, guys, block off this week. You're doing it. We're like, all right. Perfect.
Yeah.
I think that's the part that people don't understand. You just said block off this week. It's not just, oh, you're going to be closed for lunch service today. No, there's a whole day where guy comes in and you make the recipes for him, and
all day.
Some people try food, and then there's a whole nother day where more people come in and try food, and you have to make each dish like over and over and over again so they can get every angle and they can show the little money shot of, cutting into a piece of chicken and picking it up and everything. Just pull back the curtain. Like, what were those couple days like for you guys? I mean, what did you learn about the TV food industry that you had no idea going into it?
A lot, man. Guy's lucky, man. He has a great crew. His whole crew are super pros. I've worked with a lot of crews being backstage in my life, and I've seen the gamut of them. But these guys are really good, and it's a lot of okay, do that again, do that again, do that again, do that again. It's like it's over and over and over again. So it gets monotonous. It's really tiring. Dan did the cooking part with him.
Yeah, I got the easy part. Yeah, relatively.
It just takes all day. Like, it is all day thing. And Guy, he works, man. That dude works. Like, he is there the whole time. He's on his phone doing a bunch of business, and he's walking back to the kitchen. He's doing more business. Like, it was pretty cool. Watch that take place.
Yeah.
Dan, what was Guy like personally? I mean, we watch him on all his shows. I mean, he's got basically a cornucopia of shows on Food Network now, but he's just such a loud, boisterous personality on camera. Is that what he's like all the time?
Absolutely. From the few hours or couple hours he was there, it's like he was there. He was present. He was touching all the tables, and he was the guy in the room. You know what I mean? So, that's him to a fault.
He's definitely the guy looking for dust too. Like, you could tell, like he's looking in your restaurant to make sure, like, he's putting out, like, he's not putting out some crap. But, like, he's looking at your restaurant, cleanliness, everything. So that's pretty cool.
I've heard from other restaurant owners that he made suggestions, or he would say, hey, you got to tighten this up. Like, you're getting by with this now, but you could definitely do this better. You should be doing better. And I was just like, oh, shoot.
That's what we heard too. Luckily, we got a lot of good feedback from, and it's funny because I guess one of the things he does after every show is he suggests something. Like, he does give you a suggestion, and what he told us to do was get merch. He was like, you guys need T-shirts. You guys are like totally a T-shirt kind of place. So instead of buying T-shirts, we went to Branson, Missouri, and bought a T-shirt press. And so that we make our own T-shirts in the basement now. So, yeah.
You guys just aren't allowed to buy anything. You gotta make everything yourself.
Yeah.
Renaissance.
So, Dan, like Moses mentioned, you were the one who actually did the cooking for Guy on camera. So you cooked the chicken and pancakes like we talked about, and the achiote grilled sandwich. And there's always... one of the things I love about watching that show is, like, when Guy is taking that first bite, I love just watching the chef or the restaurant owner, because sometimes they look totally cool. Sometimes they look like they're about to make a mess in their pants. They're just like, oh, what's he going to say? What's he going to say? What was that moment like for you? Just as you're waiting those couple seconds, you're just like, oh man, what is he going to say?
Yeah, say something, please. Yeah, hurry up. Talk, say something. What do you have to say? He had rave reviews, nothing but good things to say. But yeah, it was very brief moments that we're still talking about too today.
One of the quotes that he had when he was eating the chicken and waffles, he said, "Anybody that likes chicken and waffles is absolutely going to lose their mind." I mean, what is that validation like for you guys? I mean, this is obviously, he's a little bombastic. He can be a little over the top. But for somebody who scours the country, the world really, eating all kinds of great food, to have him say that about one of your dishes, what is that feeling like when that comes out of his mouth?
Yeah, damn, wow, what? You see? Yeah, just instant gratification, just wow, what? Yeah, thank you. Yes, yeah.
And what's it like for you, Moses? Because Dan was on camera, you were more behind the scenes. But as you're watching, did you get to watch? First of all,
I did, but at that moment I went and had a cigarette. I was like, I'm gonna go outside for this part. I loved it though, because Guy kept giving Dan shit about being so mellow, like Dan. So he's like, I can't hear you, buddy. Like stuff like that. It was great. It was awesome.
I found that a little bit interesting because, I mean, you two have very different personalities. As we've seen tonight, Moses, you are very out there, very outgoing. Dan is a little bit more reserved.
Thank you.
And there's
Very
absolutely
nice.
nothing wrong with that.
I like that. Yeah.
So I remember when the episode aired, I was like, sure, Moses was going to be the on-camera personality. And then there's Dan, and he's just calmly walking guy through the episode. I was just like, gosh, he killed it. Did they come to you guys and like tell you what your roles were going to be, or did you choose how that worked? Or
No, actually, it was kind of more so last minute. I was the one who was like, because I was going to cook, but I was like, nah, Dan really, he deserves. I've had my chance. I've been on a few different like TV programs, and I've been behind camera stages and front. So I was like, you know what, Dan's never done this. Like and not to mention like surprise, that was awesome. Like.
Yeah.
you're going to be on national TV.
Yeah. By the way. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but Dan killed it, man. It was perfect. So.
Well, I'm glad you got the opportunity to do that, Dan. I'm sure you would have done great too, Moses, but you represented the restaurant very, very well.
Thank you.
Now, about a year ago, I had you, Moses, on a live podcast on this stage with two other restaurant owners who'd been on the show as well. And at that point, you said you had not gone back and rewatched your segment.
Yeah.
Is that still the case?
No, I've watched a little because my mom moved it here. And so, sure enough, mom loves to have it on. Like, check it out. It's on right now. Like, all right. Yeah.
So when you look back at it, now that you guys have watched it, what do you think? Like, do you feel like your restaurant was represented well? Are you surprised by some of the stuff they kept in? Did you think that they would have something in there that they ended up cutting? Like, what's your overall take on the segment?
To be honest, I loved it. And in fact, I love that when ours came on, like, I don't know if you remember, like they did the first shot, it was almost like a glamour shot kind of. Mm-hmm. And they did like almost looking like Vaseline on the camera little thing. Like, I was like, cool, man. All right. They gave us the treatment. That's pretty rad.
Yeah. Man, I haven't watched it in a long time, but yeah. It was fun. It was cool. Yeah, they did their thing. It was great.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta ask you in complete honesty. Now, I'm not asking for like specific numbers or anything, but I've talked to a bunch of different of the restaurants that were on the show, and I've heard varying degrees of how much that actually affected popularity and sales. Some say the show it's been huge for them. It's been a rocket ship, and others not so much. In fact, one of those restaurants has actually since closed. What have you guys experienced since being on the show? Would you say there's been a tangible difference?
Mm-hmm.
I think we noticed it when they show reruns of the show.
Yeah.
Like a Friday night or whatever, and then tomorrow, the Saturday, is like overwhelmingly.
Yeah, we'll look at our Instagram, and all of a sudden we'll have like 50 more followers. I'm like, I wonder. Oh, the show.
The show went off, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people will say they're at the hotels, too, in downtown Omaha. They're like, yeah, we were just at the hotel watching. Your guys' show came up, so we came right over. We're like, all right, cool. So but it's been great, man. You can always tell when the show is aired for sure. But, it did so – you can't lie. It did so much for us, man. It's like even, as good as we were and we think we're great, like you need people to tell everybody that. You need the exposure to get them there in the first place. And then you'll get them back a second time because you are that good. So it definitely helped. It helped big time.
Nice. As we wrap up here, there's another quote that you had, Moses, off of a previous podcast. You're just a quote machine, man. You were describing yourselves, and you said, two guys coming off the hotline that had no business owning a restaurant, running the Flatiron building. That's so Omaha, isn't it? That's very us and what we can achieve in this city. Our story should be replicated. There should be dudes on hotlines and restaurants saying right now, yo, I can do that. We're still that city that can make that happen. How much do you believe that? Like, do you guys see yourselves as an inspiration?
Yeah, no, I believe that to my core. Maybe it's a little bit of like, future political aspirations in me, but I see that in our town. Like, I don't think it could be replicated outside of Omaha. There's places, I come from big city markets, Atlanta, New York, LA. I've worked in all of them, and I've worked there. I don't see that hunger on the hotlines or the ability in cities like that. Here, it is so easy. Like, I don't want to say easy, but you can do it. Like, you absolutely can do it. If you have the talent and you have, you can stay up all day. You can figure it out. Like you're willing to put that grind into something you love. You can make it happen in this town.
Why is that here though, and not in other places?
It's hard to say, to be honest. I think it's a mixture of a few different things. It's our population. It's our age right now. Like the age of people that have the ability to do that. Like there's a lot of us here right now, and we just keep losing that talent to bigger cities instead of it staying here. So our rent isn't too high right now. Like there's opportunity. There's equipment available. Like we're big enough to have food purveyors that'll go really wherever. So, I mean, all the things kind of line up perfectly. There will be a time that rent will get too high. There will be, a surplus. So we got to watch out for that. But I think it could be done here. And you just got to have hunger. And I can give you the best example, us. we run the Flatiron now, So absolutely, I wholeheartedly believe it.
Yeah, I mean, it's wild to think, 4 years ago, essentially at this time, maybe 4 years and a couple months, but you guys were working at Kitchen Table.
Yeah.
And now you own like this, well, not own, but you're in this historic building. You're running your own business. I mean, I think not just restaurateurs, but anyone can be inspired by that. And just like, if you are willing to put the grind in and you're passionate about something and you can figure it out, you can go places.
And this is a town for it, for sure, man. It's not just downtown too. It's out west here. It's Midtown. It's downtown. There's all these places that people will show up. Omaha loves our local food scene. It's not us that make it. It's our customers that make it happen. And I think there's a lot of people that can replicate that story because of the customer base here in Omaha. People show out. They show up. So it's special, man. It's very special.
Okay, we've talked so much about how far you guys have come in such a short amount of time. So I got to ask about the future. I mean, as you look into the future of Dirty Birds, stuff is changing all the time. The menu's changing, the locations change. I don't think that's going to change again anytime soon. But what do you see your business evolving into?
Oh man, I don't know. Could go a couple ways. We obviously can't do this forever, but just always listening to opportunity and taking our time with everyone, just doing people right and listening to others, get you a long way.
Yeah. And, we found solace in there's different aspects of this industry too that can take you in different ways. Just like Cockfight, we're not just doing it to throw a great event. Like it is a great event, but having it filmed, having it produced, having it edited, putting a show together. We're going to have a pilot together. Like it's an amazing opportunity for us. And again, in a scene like Omaha, I love to think that nobody else is doing it. Of course, other people are doing what we're doing, but in my head, it's like, there ain't nobody else doing it. So we keep that mentality. And this show, I think, we've put a lot of energy and effort into it. And it's just another avenue for success. I mean, to be honest, there's no telling what may come of it, but we're super excited and we're highly motivated to make it happen. So kind of see where that goes for sure.
All I know is I would not put a ceiling on you guys in any way. Just seeing how far it's come. We're almost up against the clock here, but I want to hit you guys with a couple quick hitters before we get out of here. Yeah. So 6-7 words or less. Special that you've run at Dirty Birds that you wish you could put on the menu full time.
I've been loving this French toast lately.
French toast, yeah.
What's special about the French toast?
The shoku pan.
Yeah. Milk bread, man. Yep.
Yeah, our French toast. If you get our French toast, I promise it's going to be the best French toast you ever had. I'll put money on it. I'll put my word up right now.
All right. Best side dish with fried chicken.
Mama J's potato salad.
Mama J's tater salad, yeah.
I like biscuit, cornbread. Yeah. Honey.
Yeah, just a bowl of honey.
Yeah.
Okay, you can only have one for the rest of your life. Wings, breast, or thigh?
Ooh.
Damn, I want to say wings, but it's thigh.
Yeah, we might differ here. I think it's wings.
Okay.
Yeah.
And last one to get you out of here. If you could change one thing about Dirty Birds right now, what would it be?
No stairs to the basement.
No stairs.
One floor.
Yeah, we want a ranch style restaurant.
Yeah. Next spot. No stairs.
Fair enough. Well, I mean, I have enjoyed having you guys' food so many times over the years. I've enjoyed talking to you guys and getting to know you. I know that there's so much more to your story that we weren't able to get into tonight, but I appreciate you so much for all the hard work you've put into this thing. Like, I know we've talked a lot about the fun that you have and all the success you've had and everything tonight. There's a lot of hard in there too. I mean, I can only imagine what those 2 a.m. shifts were like, and then waking up for brunch the next day. And that's just one tiny ounce of how much you poured into this. So thank you for all the hard work that you've put in to bring Dirty Birds to us. And thank you for coming out here and doing the podcast.
Thank you, man.
I sincerely appreciate you.
Yeah, you've been our biggest fans since day one, man.
No.
Thank you, brother.
For sure.
It's well deserved. All right. Omaha, as always, thanks for eating with us.